The scene is set in Ventru Tower within Nobility Hill. John Stanhope drives up to the formidable office building. It is black Mercedes driven by his personal driver, Jeffrey. They go into the underground car park, and John tip-taps his way across the empty car parking lot, up the elevator towards the more residential district of the building, the place where the employees and the staff don't know about the private dorms and meeting rooms of the Ventru clan. They go across the minimalist office space, seeing the potted plants and other adornments that seem to be all faded now. The plants withered, paintings faded. John can't help but muse that this is perhaps the state of his clan, faded, becoming obsolete in this madhouse of a city. But his purpose here is not nostalgia, but retribution. John hates being made looking a fool of, especially when he sticks his neck out for someone. And for this, he is heading up to the personal haven of Alexander Crown, a Ventru associate, who he recommended for Harpy. He comes across the door and raps on it rather roughly with his cane. There is no answer. He waits for a few minutes, then nods to Jeffrey. Jeffrey shoulder barges the door, the lock comes off the hinges, clattering to the ground. Jeffrey pulls out his service weapon and moves into the building, taking to the corners and hugging the walls to make sure no danger is present.
As he enters the haven, as he hits the floor first, he notices shards of glass right in front of the door. He barely escapes cutting himself as he stands and overlooks the carnage that is the haven. Tables have been overturned. The ones made of glass have been broken. The once beautiful and ornate paintings on the wall have been removed and torn down. The furniture is skewed about the floor, and there is a singular shadow in the corner, and a singular click of a revolver can be heard.
The ghoul moves about the apartment, checking the doors and the blind spots, making sure that there is no other intruder within here. Upon spying the shadow, he freezes and levels a gun, beckoning the shadow to come into the light. Slowly.
As he looks into the darkness, he sees a single flash of a lighter as a cigarette is lit, and the face of Alexander Crown can be seen. His normal, tidy demeanor, his white shirt and black tie, untucked and undone. Blood can be seen on his shirt. His hair unmade and just a shamble of a man. He looks at the servant and goes, "The light. I miss the light."
Upon hearing
He still doesn't
Crown,
move.
upon hearing Crown's voice, John strides into the room, unheeding towards the broken glass or debris. He stops just short, puts a hand on the shoulder of his ghoul. The ghoul puts up the weapon, although still remains on alert. "Alex, what has happened?" John says, with a little bit of irritation to his voice, certainly impatience. "Have you been attacked?"
Attacked? No. No one's been in and out of this house for days. Just me. Well, I think just me.
"I thought the last time we spoke we had very clear instructions as to what you're doing with the rest of your nights, Mr. Crown."
Oh, yeah. The harpy. Crown's demeanor is not his usual confident and straightforward tone. It is broken and it is choppy. It's almost like he's distracted by something. His eyes keep darting across the room slightly. Not large movements, just his eyes move as if to look for something that's not really there.
John holds up a hand and starts clicking to grab his attention. "Crown, Crown. Focus."
He looks back at John. "John, when did you get here?"
"What has happened to you?"
This city. It takes a toll on a strong man's mind.
"Do you think you're the only one who's been tested by the city?"
Oh no, I would never be so bold as to say I'm the only one affected by the city. Lives have been taken, people have fallen.
"And this is your answer? To wallow in self-pity and take your petty frustrations out on the furniture, and you call yourself Ventrue?"
You know, he pushes his back up to the wall and forces himself up. I have been around since Prohibition, really. And I don't know, it's just I've never really called myself Ventrue. Though that is my blood and that is who I hold my allegiance to. I have never had the head for this, the mindset for a Ventrue clan. And he runs his hand through his hair, kind of straightening it as you will, and he seems to be tidying himself up and moving slowly to his desk.
"It doesn't matter your own perceptions of yourself, Crown. It's how the world sees you. You're seen as a Ventrue, and there are precious fucking few of us left. Get a grip, man."
You know, when you think of all we've lost in our clan, You think when they leave, when they meet their final death, you think they leave, but they really don't. Echoes. You see echoes of them. They just won't stop. It just won't stop.
That's the pressure of the legacy. Each Ventrue casts a voice in the eternal choir that is the kings of the night. And it is our job to make their wishes come true and rise beyond their expectations. Do you feel you cannot take the weight, Crown? Because I have no need for weakness in this city, in my clan. And I will expunge it if necessary. But if you have even a fraction of the faith placed in you by Williams, by those that we call mentor, then you will pick yourself up off this filth and stop whining.
Crown's eyes kind of flare at the sound of Williams, and his demeanor once again changes. It's less disoriented and more focused, more anger, and he says, Williams was a fool, and you know it.
That's right. Concentrate on that anger. Anger is a great focuser. Hatred also gives us clarity. It is something we can point to. Like the North Star in the sky, you can always find a heading in hatred. If you have nothing else, Crown, use that. I don't care what you hate, who you want to destroy. Hell, hate me, everyone else in the city does. But you will pick yourself up or you will be destroyed. There's no middle ground in this city, you know that. So stop drawing it out. Make your decision.
After I talked with you about Harpy, I went out into the city to find Darkstone, but all I heard was the rabble of the city, the filth, the lies, without thinking, Crown has bared his fangs, and seems to be extremely agitated. This city should just burn to the floor. Just burn it all.
You have no complaint from me. But there are ways and means, Alexander. We can't just go out. Going postal, as you Americans say, it's just far too dramatic. There have been others that have felt if you have. The Malkavian primitive Ray fell to the madness of this city and set it ablaze. All these kindred, thinking only of destruction. But there's only one part, Crown. After destruction comes creation. After the fire, there is the ash and the ember. There are two people in this world. There are builders and there are destroyers. So what do you want to do with your life? What do you want to do with this city?
Crown kind of thinks about it for a second, then he moves to the window, his movements smoother. He looks out over the glimmering city that is New Sarum. His revolver still in his hand. He goes, tear it down. Brick by brick. But not all at once. No, not all at once. Slowly.
So where would you start? Hmm? How would you complete this grand work?
You can't start at the top. The moment the pieces fall, those at the bottom see it and they come to stop you. You start at the foundation, the very base of the city. You weaken it slowly. And then when you're ready, you bring the whole fucking thing down. Where would you start, John? Where would you start your destruction?
One whisper at a time. Because a city is more than bricks and mortar, Alexander. It's an ideal. It's a concept founded on mass belief. A shared delusion. Every time you make people question that delusion, every official that's corrupted, every guilty man who is let free, that delusion changes. And after enough time, that ideal is no longer what it was. People won't even recognize it anymore because it has been shaped into something other. And I will shape this city into something more akin, or at least more hospitable to myself. I am on the verge of taking this city. But that doesn't mean that there can't be sacrifices along the way. Some of the more stubborn ideas have to disappear.
What would you have me do, John? His demeanor once again changes. He turns and takes a drag off the cigarette, which has been lit since the two had entered. You came here because what? Because I didn't talk to Darkstone?
Yes. You embarrassed the clan. And there's so few of us now, we cannot afford our reputation being tarnished. Even to someone as minor as Darkstone. We are being run by a beast with no leash and a philosopher who's too afraid of his own shadow. There is no sheriff, there is no law, there is only anarchy and illusion keeping the city together. Everything is on the precipice. What I want from you, Crown, is to look at you and see another Ventrue. a brother in arms I can trust and guide, and to help me steer this place into how it's supposed to be. But I don't see that. I see a broken toy. A broken little wooden soldier. And now my question is whether I allow this little broken soldier to twirl and spin until he breaks and wrecks the living room with him, or whether I reprogram him. He won't be the same, but he'll certainly march to my tune.
Crown stands for a second. You can tell that his body isn't moving, but his mind is, as if everything were either crashing down or building up. It's not quite sure. His face is blank, his body is unshaken, and then he closes his eyes. And when he opens it, there's not a dull void behind his eyes, but a raging inferno that once was there. He looks at John and goes, "Orders."
Are we better now, Crown? Are we ready to rebuild the ideal of the city? I need to know that I can trust you. It's been so long since you've been in the field.
He puts down the revolver and opens the desk drawer and pulls out a singular butter knife. Looks around for a second and throws it at one of the portraits and hits it in the face.
Well then. It's time to start making waves. Who to start you on? Ah. How about this? And the scene will end.